Okay, so how do we use different approaches when leading people now? If people are working remotely and they've got their staff remote, it's a bit more difficult.
Mm. Well, I think, yeah, we've seen it, haven't we? You know, we're going through it now. We thought we might have been out of it, but we're going back into it.
Yeah.
I think what we are seeing is all the traits we've spoken about this morning apply. So it's not as if you're changing everything. I think what we are seeing is there definitely needs to be more trust both ways, because ultimately, I suppose the days of being able to watch the chickens laying the eggs are kind of behind us now, aren't they? It's a case of you have to trust people to be working. More communications. And ironically, I think when we come out of, well, if we ever come out of the COVID situation, I think what we will see is many organizations have actually improved the way they communicate because they've had to, you know, because they've got lots of people working. So communications definitely, and using channels like we are using now, isn't it? Using video conferencing, using the phone, using WhatsApp and all sorts of other ways to communicate. I think the most important one though is making sure that the way we manage performance is very clear, so that we are because what employers have become where they can is much more flexible with people. They've kind of said, okay, if you've got to take the kids to school in the morning, don't start till 10. And if you've got to pick them up again at 3, you go on later in the evening when it suits you onto the computer, do you? And that's fine as long as the person's targets are clear and that they can be measured, because that's all we want, isn't it? If I'm managing you remotely, all I want to know is that you are clear, and we've agreed what our expectations are. You feel confident and comfortable, you can meet them. And all I need to do is support you and then check in with you to make sure you're okay. And you can kind of manage your own time. So I think it's going to help a lot. I think we've had a lot of managers up until now reluctant to use technology, reluctant to allow people to work remotely, and they've had no choice. And a lot of them are actually saying to me, they're more productive. What a surprise. They're not driving down the motorway for 2.5 hours to go to a meeting, you know? It's kind of,
and they're not chit-chatting in the office with everyone else.
Yeah, that's right. They're not on the photocopier or whatever, talking about Coronation Street. Yeah.
I think it's hard for some people with trust. I think trust in their staff.
Yeah. But you know, I think that the view you've got to have is, well, what you've got to have is good performance management, isn't it? So you're both clear about what you expect that person to do, and you've got ways of monitoring it. So it becomes much more output driven rather than input driven. You know, it's not about coming to work at 8:30 and going home at 4. It's about delivering what a day's work looks like.
Yeah, I think a lot of people find it's a lot. I think the difficulty was before, not now, is with having the children at home, trying to do their work at the same time.
Yeah.
Depending on the age of the children.
Yeah, employers have got to be very flexible, haven't they?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
But also, I think what we won't have now is what we call presenteeism, isn't it? You know, where you'd have people in the office from 8:30 till 4, but actually they only did 4.5 hours work.
Yeah.
People working at home, I think, will be much more kind of productive because they'll be managing themselves.
Yeah, that's right.
Doesn't suit everyone, does it? But I think we're seeing a big difference. So from a leadership point of view, it is about trust, it's about performance management, and it's about communication, I think.
Yeah, I think communication is the big one, isn't it, for people?
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are scared of getting on the camera as well.
Yeah.
So once they get over that, I think it'll be a lot easier for them.
Absolutely. And we're all getting, those of us who are using it regularly, whether we like it or not, we're getting used to it, aren't we?
Yeah. Just like looking in the mirror all day at yourself.
I try not to look at myself, actually.